Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to Dreams to Keys Realty. I am Jalon Strong, the realtor and owner here, and welcome to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining, and we hope that you come back soon. Make sure that you hit that like on this video, as well as subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any information that we put out on this channel. So let's get started into today's topic. So today we are talking about how to achieve your goals. And of course, because this is a real estate based page and channel, we will be focusing on that. But you can use these tips to help you with any goals that you have for the rest of this year or for 2024. So let's get right into it and keep everything that you read about the disclaimer that was played twice on here before I joined up, that you keep those things in mind because they're very important when you try to determine how to place the information that will be presented, not just in this video, but on this channel. All right, so first, let's get into topic number one or point number one. First, when it comes to achieving your goals, talk it out and write it out so that you can hear yourself and see it on paper so that you know exactly what your target goals are. Sometimes we just think about them, we don't really act on them. And for some of us, talking and writing it out may not be all that we need to do at this step. Some of us benefit from vision boards and making those different wallpapers to our phones so that we can see them. So, whatever it calls for you, it's time to talk about it and write it out and put it in your face so that you have your goals in mind. When I think about goals for buying a home for any future home buyers, I think about a few things. One, consider when do you want to buy a home? What time of year? When do you think you will be financially ready to buy a home? And don't think necessarily when your lease ends because sometimes the deal that you formulate in buying a home can compensate for the remaining parts of your lease. At least that was the case for me. So some people think, well, I need to buy a home by the end of my lease. And depending upon how your deal is structured, your seller or the builder can actually factor in your lease as a part of that deal to kind of make sure that your lease is paid up or your rent is paid up for that time period when you're actually moving into your home. So you can consider timeframes that will be closer to the end of your lease ending and still be able to buy a home in that mindset. But you need to know and you need to communicate to anyone representing you, such as your real estate agent, that I would need something written into the deal that will cover my rent while I'm still actively in this lease. And so builders most of the time they seem to be pretty good about, knowing about that, factoring that in. They have no problem. So they factor that in pretty well most of the time in my experience. But make sure that you communicate that. You talk with your real estate expert, such as your realtor or real estate salesperson, and let them know that that is a factor in when you close and how you close. Okay? So we can't really help what we don't know is a concern for you. So you have to know your concerns and communicate them to those that are there to help you buy and get your home. So when do you want to own a home? What kind of home do you want to own? That can be a goal as well. It depends, for some people, they may like condos. And the term condo is sometimes thought of a certain way for a lot of people, but it's actually not that way on paper. And we can go into that in a separate video, what a condo technically is. But think of what type of home you would like to live in. Would you like a condo? Would you like a town home? Would you like a single family home? Would you like a multifamily home? Would you like to live in a rural area? Would you like a duplex? Do you have goals for renting out a portion of whatever property you buy? Do you mind a mobile home, a manufactured home? Do you want to live with your family? Do you plan on at some point in life in this particular home that you're getting to take care of your elderly parents and you want a space for them? You want, something maybe downstairs in the basement that feels like they have their own space and home to themselves, or maybe there's some structure or like a secondary home that is on the property that can be for them. So it depends upon what your goals are. Where do you see yourself? How do you see yourself living? And who are those people that you're living with or you potentially could be living with that would affect what type of home you get and, how it looks and how it feels. So those are things to consider when you think about your home ownership goals, what type of home you want to have. Where do you want to live? It matters where you want to live. A lot of times when I get on consultations and I talk to different people, they may say it doesn't really matter. Well, when we talk about it doesn't really matter, but you live in a certain area and you work in a certain area and you have to commute so many times a week, and you may have a child and their daycare or school is so far, it starts to matter because it should matter up front. So make sure that you assess for all of those things. You think about, okay, I've assessed where I want my child to go to school. And if that's the major factor of where I buy a home, then I potentially want my home closer to that school. So think about those things. And even if school is not a factor, say you don't currently have kids, but you think that at some point you may live in this area, maybe 10, 20 years from now, you think you might live in another, buying a home in a particular school area, let's say that has good schools, we'll use the quotes here, good schools, that's a benefit if you want to sell in the future because the person that you could be selling to or the entity, for example, may care about these schools surrounding that home. And that can make or break a deal for some parents because they're very concerned about where their children are going to school and what type of education they're getting. So the school grading could impact if you're able to sell that home in the future. Those are things that even when you buy a home now, you want to think about. Okay. Let's think about also if you have nailed down where you want to live, let's assess what the price range is currently because it could fluctuate by the time that you're really ready. But at least you can start assessing your savings around what the current prices are. So let's just throw out a situation and say that the area that you're looking to buy a home in the future currently has a price range of $200,000 homes to $350,000 homes. So let's just say at the point where let's say you don't qualify for any different down payment programs or you decide that that's not the best for you. You would rather save and make that down payment yourself. So from that known price range at this point, and you can get that information by discussing it with your real estate expert, such as your real estate salesperson or realtor. And we discussed on this channel what those two different terms mean. But you can decide how to save. So let's say you need 10%. And let's be clear, there are different programs where you do not need 10%. This is just for an example. So let's say in your case, you need 10%. Everybody does not need 10%. I just want to keep saying that because I know people hear certain things and interpret certain things. And I want it to be clear that this is an example and not the majority or everyone's situation. So in a 10% scenario, you know that you would need to save 20K to 35K for this particular area, right? So then you have a savings goal. Now we're expanding our goals and we're putting numbers to our goals, right? So we know that at the point of 20K or at max 35K, if the housing price range in this area stays the same, you're ready to buy a home. right? So then you know that that's when you're ready, if that's the route you choose to take. So we've got goals factoring into other goals. All right, so that is point number one. Talk it out and write it out. And you see how just me talking it out loud, we were able to find a finance goal. We were able to establish not just where do we want to live, but what savings do we need to achieve to live in this area currently. And we're aware that that can change throughout time, and that may increase or decrease depending on what's going on and all the factors that play into home prices and sales and all of that nature. So that's point number one. Talk out and write out your goals. Point number two, talk. Let's fix that because it should say talk. Talk with, let me fix that. Talk with the stakeholders. So, stakeholders in this situation are people that would have to agree, buy in, or accept this goal of home ownership in order for it to function properly the way you would like it. So, in this case, if you are, let's say, you're married and your spouse has the goal that once the parents, his parents or her parents or their parents get to a certain point in life, the goal for your spouse is to move the parents into the home and to take care of them, right? So the home that you buy, you need some input from your spouse, of course, and then you might need input from the parents if that's what you both agree on. Now, of course, it matters that you both would need to agree. You both would need to agree on the parents moving in and the care of the parents. So, do you care for the parents? Do you hire home health care? All those different things, depending upon what the state of the care is needed for the parents, right? But it matters on the type of home that you buy because let's say the parents at that age can't climb stairs. Do you find a home that has kind of like a basement feel, but it feels like a separate home all itself down there? And then they don't have to climb any stairs to reach a kitchen or a laundry room, or even if you're just going to do those things for them and they don't have to worry about it, period. And you just bring things up and down your stairs or however it is. Or do you buy like a duplex and they stay on one end and you stay on the other? So it does matter who the stakeholders are, where you see yourself in the future, what your family looks like, or those that are in your home look like or factor in, how they factor into the home buying process. Because you just never know. You know, you buy a home and it just doesn't work. And there can be certain stipulations that impact how you can sell it later and how soon you can sell it without certain penalties. So those are things that you can discuss as well with a tax professional. So just make sure that at this step, after you've talked out and written out your goals, that you also talk with those that would have a key insight or key decision making ability in how or what type of home you get, how you get the home and what type of home. Okay. So those that you want on the deed, those that you want on the mortgage, those that you want to live with, they need to be a part of that process. So talk with them, make sure that you're all on the same page and see how you can merge goals, combine goals, or streamline the goals so that you all can get what you're individually and collectively looking for. Okay, so that's talking point number two. The last one we have is find experts in your area to help you. The biggest benefit of buying a home with real estate experts is that they're totally in it to find your home. They may or may not have a home. Hopefully they do, but they're not looking to get a home out of your deal, right? They're looking to help you get your home. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So it's up to you for you to say what you need, what you want, what your desires, your must haves are, because that's what they have to factor into any way that they help negotiate or make the process best for you. So the biggest thing is to get to number one, which is to talk out and write out your goals. Be clear, break it down as far as you can so that when you communicate to someone else, they're like, I got it and I got you. I can help you. I can do this. Or even if they can't, they can say, I think there's someone else that could probably be best for you. I'm not sure that I'm the right person, right? So give them the details and be open to the fact that they may or may not be the right person for you, but they may be able to position you and get you to the right person. There are a lot of times when I have consultations and there are just people out of my area, and that's totally fine. I'm not going to tell you that you should just be in my area. No. What I will say is there are experts, there are real estate agents, there are lenders that are ready and willing to help you. If you would like, I can refer you to one, but if not, I still wish you the best. I just know that I'm not the best person to help you find the home that you're looking for in the area that you're looking to live. And we both have to accept that, you know? So you can find experts in your area in many ways. For example, if you're on this page, if you're in the Atlanta or surrounding areas, I can either be your real estate agent or realtor. And I can also, in certain scenarios, be your referral agent. So I can refer you to someone who's in your area. So I primarily operate in the Lawrenceville, Gwinnett County area, but I also operate in DeKalb and Fulton County as well. But if there's ever a scenario where you want to live in a different part of Georgia that's in an area that I don't immediately service, I am more than willing and able to refer you to someone that is. My network and my agency is wide enough to where I can reach people across the nation. So just because you're not in Atlanta or Lawrenceville or Gwinnett County does not mean that I can't be a resource for you to position you to find the expert in your area. Also, I have lenders. That's another thing that you would have a benefit with working with a real estate agent or realtor is that we have access to other people that are in this profession, in the real estate profession, that are able to help. So, excuse me, one type of professional or connection that we have is that with lenders. So, lenders, that term is more of an umbrella term. You may be actually speaking with a mortgage loan officer, but the lender is the one that's actually funding the deal. The officer is the one that's helping to make sure that the paperwork and all of the eligibility and requirements are outlined and they're communicating back and forth to you to make sure that you have the documents submitted and you qualify for whichever program, and they're communicating to you how you can better qualify, if there's anything that you can change depending upon when you want to move into a home. So we help you position yourself with these lenders and the mortgage loan officers that represent them. And we also can help you with different real estate professionals like inspectors. And at any point when you find a home that you think that you really want to live in, an inspector, in my opinion, is necessary because a home can look aesthetically pleasing and have things underneath the surface that our trained eyes are not able to catch. And that's what an inspector is there for. And an inspector is there to help you make sure that your home is safe for you and for anyone that enters it or comes on the property. And the inspector has the trained eye and expertise to see when something's quite off and investigate it further and make the recommendation of it being fixed. And you want to make sure that that is done prior to owning the home so that if it needs to be fixed, the seller can see about fixing it, or you can negotiate in the deal how it will be fixed in a way that benefits both parties, or at least you to not have to come out of pocket to pay for something about the home that's known at that time. So once the inspector does the work, it's a known issue. The inspector goes in and does that assessment. So it becomes a known issue to the seller, and the seller has a responsibility at that point. And you can agree to either buy it in its current state or have the seller, negotiate, renegotiate to make those changes and updates. Safety is very important, and that's one of the key aspects that an inspector is looking for to make sure it's safe. Make sure that nothing hazardous, nothing, not quite up to code, or even if the code is more lax in certain areas, make sure that it's safe for you and for anyone in your home. So I hope that this was informational for everyone viewing this video. And I hope that you're able to find your goals, figure them out, and not find them, but really figure them out, write them out, talk to those that would be involved in the goals, and make sure that you talk to experts in that area. And you can use this for things outside of real estate as well. So if you have financial goals, like I mentioned the savings of 20K to 35K earlier in the example. Maybe a financial planner is someone that you will want to talk to as well. Because even though you may have a goal for buying a home, you may have other goals with your finances that you would want someone to possibly help you with. Maybe retirement, you may have a goal there. Maybe you have goals for other areas, like maybe your children, you may have a goal for saving for them. So a financial planner or expert could be great for you as well. Maybe you run a business and you want to make sure that you're aligned properly. Maybe a CPA is good for you. There could be different areas, different experts. It all depends on what's going on with you and where you want to see yourself. What are your goals? So it matters to have goals, because if you're not putting any type of positive aspiration out there, you may be just letting life pass you by and not really asserting yourself in the areas where you could really benefit and those around you could benefit. One of the benefits of home ownership that I love is that it creates legacy and safety and a foundation for a family. So if family, if legacy, if lineage is important to you, having home ownership is a way to kind of establish that. I love that when I grew up, my great grandparents had a home that everyone came to for holidays. It was expected that we all would come to this home and we would celebrate together. And that's something that, had they not dove into home ownership, we may not have had that experience. We may not have had that. If they stayed as renters, if they stayed leasing, we all probably wouldn't have communed in that way. And so home ownership does that. And it's a big thing that it's not a light process, but once you get through the process and you utilize those that are there to help you, that are trained experts to help you, then it makes it much easier. I'm not going to say that you don't get nervous, because I was nervous when I bought my home, but it's well worth the nerves. And the nerves are just there because there's a change going on that hasn't occurred before. So be aware that you can do this. You have the tools. Talk out, write out your goals, talk to those that will be key stakeholders, and make sure that you get the real estate professionals on board to help you make this happen. If you are in need of a real estate professional, like a realtor such as myself, you can click the link or search the link that is moving at the bottom of the screen. It has been moving for quite a bit, but you can go to beacons.ai/Jalon Strong. There are several links there, all the links to social media, all those icons are there. And you can also find a tab that says book a time with me, where you can schedule a consultation to talk with me for at least 15 minutes about your specific scenario and how I can help you, if possible, to get there. So if I can't help you directly, I can possibly refer you to someone if that's something that you like. So let's get on those calls and make sure that we get into a position for meeting your goals. I hope that this was informational for you. I hope that you like, follow, subscribe, and share. I hope you also click the notification bell so every time a video pops up on this page, you know about it. I'll see you next time. And until then, I hope that you have a blessed day, you meet all of your goals, and that you achieve them. All right, so bye bye for now.